I want to move on to talk about what I think is pretty much the real kahuna, the most important thing when you're talking about building a culture of innovation. And of course, that's people. If you want to do something distinctive and truly different in the marketplace and connect with customers the way you want to connect with them, you have to devise a really distinctive approach to the workplace and the design of work. The way that I think about it is every conversation that you have in your organization about developing new systems and services and procedures and processes, can you also have a conversation about developing people? Because innovation, in the end, is really about changing the way every person in your organization comes to work every day. When I go into companies and I try to understand, are they as serious, as unconventional, as uncompromising about the people factor in work as they are about everything else? To figure that out, simple question. You know, I've spent the last dozen years traveling the world, connecting with the most progressive organizations and leaders I can find out there. And what I usually do is, instead of immediately going to look at their product line or hear about their R&D efforts or their last quarter, I just like to ask the leadership team, why would really great people want to work here? What is it about what you stand for, how your people collaborate and work together, how you connect with customers? What is it about all that stuff that makes you a magnet for the best talent out there? Just a final point on developing this culture of innovation. You know, once you've got your organization filled with the right great people, the higher order of difficulty is how do you get them to work together productively? How do you create a productive, collaborative team that really sticks together over the long term and keeps getting better and better? No company has a better answer for that question than Pixar Animation Studios. I have spent a bunch of time inside Pixar. What a delight. This is a company that's actually not based in Hollywood. They're based in Emeryville, down near San Francisco. But they've become the envy of Hollywood by never going Hollywood. And it's all about their design for work and the way they think about talent. Now, the question behind Pixar's success, it was articulated really well by the dean of Pixar University, which is a place they have inside the company, and his name is Randy Nelson. And he said to me, you know, the question for us is really, how do you do art as a team sport? Now, that may seem like a fuzzy Hollywood kind of question, but this is a really intense competitive business. It takes 4 to 5 years to produce one of these animated movies, the last 18 months of which is an unbelievable sprint. These people work really, really hard, really intensely. It's a high-tech business as well as a highly creative business. And I would suggest that question, how do you do art as a team sport, is a question for any industry. How do you do the state-of-the-art as a team? So they have a couple great answers to that question. The first answer is make the workplace a canvas for that art. And their art, of course, happens to be storytelling. So I told you that they're not very Hollywood over there at Pixar, but there is one Hollywood element, which is when you're driving up to the place to go in to visit, they have this huge gate, these big wrought iron bars and a big gatehouse with a security guard. And basically the procedure to get in is sort of akin to getting into the White House. You go through all these checks and balances. And you finally get your visitor name badge and you look down on it and it says, "A stranger from the outside." You just, I mean, whoa! You're like, you're about to go in to this great magic factory. It's just changed everything for you. Imagine being the kind of person who gets to go in there every day. And it's one of those palaces to the people, 16-acre, beautifully landscaped campus, incredible atrium where everyone sort of meets, with a great restaurant with beautiful food made every day. And it's all about people mixing it up with each other. But this idea of making the workplace a canvas for storytelling is present. You run into story everywhere you go. You run into work in progress everywhere you go. There are galleries filled with the story art from the current films and from past films. There are galleries filled with the art of all of their people that has nothing to do with the films. There's one corner that I love called Story Corner, which breaks down the whole art of storyboarding. Even more important, everyone inside the organization is invited to the daily rushes, the daily screenings of every film. After every film, they have a science fair so they can go over all the technological innovations and really think about the mistakes they made, what they learned as an organization. It's kind of this old TQM, total quality management, point of view around measure and display, which anybody associated with Toyota knows very well. And the idea is, if you're a visual culture, if you're a culture that wants to align people, don't hoard information, put it out there so everyone can bump into it on a daily basis, be part of the conversation, be part of the ongoing work, no matter what their job or their role is on that current film. And it works really well for Pixar. The second and even better answer to that question, how do you do art as a team sport, is the Pixar University. It's a state-of-the-art corporate university, 110 classes, full filmmaking curriculum, and then a lot of great extracurriculars like drawing and sculpture, improv, belly dancing, very important to filmmaking, I guess. And the point about Pixar University is that every single person in the organization is encouraged to spend 4 hours of every week taking classes at Pixar University. I don't know what your week looks like, but 4 hours of a busy, busy week, that's a lot of commitment to outside education. And they're serious about everybody. Everybody is part of this. I was in a lighting class, a 4-hour lighting class, very technical, and I was sitting there with one of the chief executives of the company, a director, a technology guy, a production assistant, and the company chef, Luigi. He said, I speak the language of food, now I want to speak the language of film. And I just thought, what a great mix of people. But what's really happening in that class is they're not just learning about lighting, they're learning to see their work in a new light. There are all these second-order effects. When you teach accountants how to draw and to make filmmaker-based decisions, you're really putting them all on the same team. And that's the mantra of Pixar University. Everybody a filmmaker. Why? If your paycheck is signed Pixar Studios, you have to be making filmmaker-based decisions, or else why are you working here? Again, no matter what your job role is. And then more importantly, what happens when all these people at all these levels learn how to do something together. So when you see an executive at Pixar drawing and he's a really bad at drawing, it's kind of humiliating because you're among the best artists on earth. But the point of that humiliation and kind of learning and failing and regrouping together is that you begin to trust each other. There's a Latin crest for Pixar University. It has 2 inscriptions. And the first inscription is, alone no longer. And that's really what the idea is behind it. The second one is time, money, and sleep. Those are the other priorities of the organization. I tell you this Pixar story not because I think you can copy it. I mean, I think Pixar is really the extreme home makeover edition of the workplace. But it does suggest a couple questions for any leader, which is, does your design for work map to your designs on the marketplace? I mean, do those things go together? And more importantly, have you designed an organization, a workplace, that people walk into and say, why can't my company work that way?